what is a thread. Correct. So thread is nothing but a small part of a process. Again, what is a process? A program in execution is called as a process. For example, if we click on MS Word, and in background it will be opening the application, so that's where the execution of the program starts, right? So that's what we call as a process, and a very small part of the process is called as a thread, right? And major difference between process and thread would be, like, process would be having its separate address space, whereas all the thread share the same workspace, which would be of the process, like. And regarding the multitasking, for process based if we are using process based multitasking, then it will allow two or more programs to run concurrently. But when we are using thread based multitasking, the single program will be allowed to run two or more threads concurrently. Also, like, context switching and communication between two processes is very heavyweight, and process is considered to be a very heavyweight, whereas in the sense of a thread, its communication and context switching is very lightweight, and the thread execution is also lightweight. So we prefer thread over process. Now let's understand the life cycle of the thread, and then we'll see a small demo of how the threads are created, or what all the codes we need to write for that, right? So this is the life cycle of the thread. Let us quickly go through it. Initially, the thread would be in the new state. Like, once we click on thread.start, it will be coming into the active state, where it would be into the runnable state as of now, waiting for the CPU. Once our resources are allocated to it gets the CPU power and resources, it will be into the running state. From this active state, like both runnable and running, it can go to the block.waiting state. Let me give you a quick small example. For example, if one of the thread is accessing the camera and other thread also requests for the same, then one first thread, until it completes or closes the camera, second thread cannot execute it. So at that point, thread 2 will go into the block.waiting state, right? Similarly, we can have other waiting also, like it's waiting for some notification, or it could be timed waiting. Time waiting is nothing but like the thread will be waiting for some definite time, and then it will move ahead. So okay, now we got the basic of the threads. Let's go to the practical implementation, how it works. Yeah, so this is our custom class. So in order to build the thread, what we can do is, so there are two ways of creating the threads. First is if you are extending the thread class, and second, you are implementing the runnable interface. What is the difference between both is, both have its own pros and cons. We cannot extend the thread class if we are extending any other class, as we know that Java does not allow to extend more than one class. So in that case, we don't have any option other than implementing the runnable interface. Okay, now if you want to create the thread, how we do it? What we need to do, we will create our custom class that will be extending the thread, and override the run method, right? This run method is basically provided by thread class. So thread class also has its own run method, right? Correct, this one, right? So this is the run method which is executed if we have not implemented our implementation, but already as we have overridden it, so this method will be called when we are starting the thread. Similarly, we have created another class which is extending the thread class, and one more class for implementing the that is creating the thread using runnable interface. Same way we have overridden the run method. Now the difference between both the way, like extending the thread class and implementing the runnable, is like, when we are extending the thread class, it does not restrict us or to implement the run method. So I can also neglect this one and it will not give me any error. But in the same case, if I do this one, when I am implementing a runnable interface, it's definitely going to give me an error. And what would be the error? Must implement the inherited abstract method run. So this is one difference. Like, I am bound to override the run method when I am implementing the runnable interface. Again, how we can create the threads is simply creating the new object of this thread class. New thread class A, new thread class B. In case of Runnable, I am creating the object of Runnable, and then I am creating one object of thread class and passing the reference of Runnable. So this is the two lines that are used to create the thread when I am implementing using Runnable. I can directly run the thread, or I can use the start method to run. What is the difference between both is when I am using start method, it will create the new thread, right, to create or to run the previous thread. To run thread A, the thread A dot start will create new thread. If we go into the start, what it does, it will first check if it's created or not, and then it will call start zero method. Start zero method is again a native method. That means it will tell our operating system to create the thread. So this is a native call to our system. When I am calling the run method, it will not create any new thread, but it will directly run our method again, right? It will directly run. So this was the difference between start and run method also. Now, as we have covered the basic, I think you might be interested for the more detailed study on all of this, which we are going to cover in the course. Thank you.